Hi everyone, I've been making these beaded butterflies and trying different types of beads and different ways of doing them, and I'd like to share with you how I put these together. They're quite a nice size, so depending on what beads you use and everything else, you could use them quite easily, even on cards. They're not that big really, and they work out at sort of 2 inches by 2 inches, so they come out at quite a nice size, and you can hang embellishments on the bottom, which I've done on this one, so with the heart, and I was just trying all different beads and combinations to make them, and they're quite nice. So I've got seed beads and bugle beads and pearl beads and all sorts of different ones that I've tried making them with. So let me put those aside. Now for this, obviously you need to choose some beads, and I'm going to use these for this one, and so a sort of a pinky purpley one, mainly because these beads are slightly bigger than the seed beads and they're easier for me to get hold of to show you in a demonstration. Excuse me. I need some snips and some needle nose round end pliers and some wire. Now I'm using this, which is pre-cut florist's wire, and there's an awful lot in there, and I think that whole lot was about £4 plus VAT. I think it came out to. It was done by the weight rather than the amount, so I had a kilo of this, and I've had it for ages, and it just seems to not be going down. But to start with, you'll need 3 lengths of wire. It's also a nice thickness. It has to be quite thin because all 3 lengths have to pass through the beads folded. So effectively 6 lengths will be going through the beads that we'll be using for the body. So these are, put this here. These are 7-inch lengths, so that's 18 centimetres. So you take your 3 lengths of wire, and as I say, I've no idea what gauge it is because it's just standard floristry wire. And I mean, you can measure to find the centre if you want to. I just sort of tend to guess. Now this is going to make a loop on the bottom of the butterfly. If you didn't want a loop, you could actually feed a bead into the middle, and then that'll pull up to the first bead of the body and hide the wire. But I'm going to make it so that there's a loop, and that's pretty much the central-ish. It isn't quite in the middle, but it's central-ish, and that gives that sort of shape, which this piece here will then turn into the bottom loop. So you take your first bead, which I've got this is a glass, sort of a pinky lilac-y colour, and you need to feed all the wire through this first bead. Bring it down to the bottom and pull it tight, and that gives you the loop at the bottom, and the bead obviously won't come off. And then you take the second bead, and again bring all the wires together and feed that down over the whole cluster of wire. So that's the two pieces for the bottom of the butterfly's body. And then what I do is I take, as I haven't done this quite in the middle, I've got some longer lengths, so I'll pull two longer lengths aside, so that they're sticking out like that. Then take the bead I want to use for the body, and this is just a faceted sort of purple colour bead, and again that now comes down over the 4 lengths of wire that are left, which then gives you your two beads for the body, and then your sort of central body piece. And again, 2 lengths of wire, one down on each side. And then these are going to form the wings. So that's where I start with there. And then I take the smaller beads, as I say, seed beads, and these are slightly larger, just so that I can pick them up. And then feed. Generally I try and keep, obviously, an equal amount on each side, but I try and keep count of how many I'm using so that the wings are the same shape on either side. And this is fiddly, because it's going to need enough beads to do the straight length on the wing and bring it down and back to give you a sort of a teardrop shape to begin with. So I just feed 4. Might be easier if I tip them out. 5. Right, because these are larger beads, my first length for the wing is 8 beads along. When you get sort of just below halfway of the wire, the first wire, bend it straight down and then put a couple more beads on. Let's say 2, 3, sometimes even 4. It just depends on the amount of beads. I think I'm going to use 3 for that bit, which gives me the side of the wing. And then I'm going to bend this back towards the body and put I think 5 beads on there. Oops. And that leaves you enough of the wire to then take it back towards the body. Just hold it there and then wrap the wire around underneath, just underneath the large bead, to hold that section in, and then you can see it's starting to take shape. So that will be the bottom wing of the butterfly. So you then repeat the same on the opposite side. Right, so once you've got both the bottom wings done, we can now move to these top wings. And these, again, I'm going to use probably 8, maybe 9 on this first run on the top. You just need to make sure that you have enough of your wire left to wrap around the body, and that you've got the same amount of beads on either side so that it's not lopsided. Right, I'm actually going to stick with 8 on that side as well. Now for the top wing, you just bend that back down towards the bottom wing, and again use a lesser amount of beads on here, leaving enough wire on this piece to connect it to the bottom wing. So I think I'll go for 5, I think, over 4 or 5. Yeah, I think I can do it with 5. So then you're left with a sort of a V shape for the top wing, which we're now going to attach to this bottom wing by coming in about 3/4 of the way along the wing. So I'm going to come in 5 beads and attach the top wing to the bottom. So got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go just the other side of the fifth bead. Pull it down so that the beads meet. And then wrap the wire around to connect the top wing to the bottom wing, making sure it's nice and secure. So we have the basis for the shapes of the wings, and again just repeat with the opposite side. Right, so there we have a fairly nice, it's just a fairly nice butterfly shape as it is. So just snip off any extra wires that are sticking out. I don't want those in the way. Right, and now take your final bead, which is going to be the head. Bring that, we still have 2 pieces of wire at the top here, so bring that down over the 2 pieces of wire. And you can actually use a slightly larger one that's a bit small, but this will be the head of the butterfly. And then cut to approximately 1 inch above the bead, away of the wire that you have. You don't need that much. And now you can take some seed beads or some smaller beads to put onto the feelers, or you can just take your needle nose and just wind in to make the feelers for the butterfly. You can play around with them a bit, and they're not very neat, but so there you have the little feelers. And obviously the good thing about having, the good thing about having them, the butterfly wired, is that now you can change the shape and bring the bottom wings in and make them fuller, like that. And you can bring the top wings up and play around with them and basically make the the butterfly to the shape that you're happy with. So that's how I made the beaded butterflies. I hope it helps. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.